All right. All right. Well, welcome. We'll hopefully a few more people will join us. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight and helping us to think about what's coming next and how we've been doing and checking in on each other. Help us to open our eyes and learn new things, and just be here to support each other. In your name, amen.
Amen.
Okay, now we'll do Joy, Junk, and Jesus, and
Okay.
we'll start with
Okay.
John.
My junk was my pain in my back. It seemed to be getting worse. So that was my junk. And I have two joys and Jesus kind of combined. And the first one was the book I received from Lori. That was a joy in Jesus, the wonderful inscription she had on it. And I started reading it today because I wanted to wait till I could really sit down. And after my ablation, I'm not doing much. And I really enjoyed it. And I just got through with the one chapter where all those cancer patients and stuff, and I could never do that like she does. I mean, you say you can't, but I'm not good with sick people. Let some people like her just have a calling for it. And my second one is I got my first ablation today, and right now my back doesn't hurt, and usually by this time of night I can't even hardly walk. So that's a joy in Jesus too. And I get the other side done in 2 weeks.
All right. How about you, Nancy?
Well, let's see. I posted mine on our website. Let's see if I can remember it. Let's see. Well, it's my junk. Yeah, dealing with the COVID issues still with family members, and I don't know, two more have it, and they're on the mend, but they're still going through it. And my joy was getting my buck.
Mhm.
My junk was my Jesus was being able to get that buck in the truck after 2 attempts. I kid you not, it was that heavy to lift it for the both of us to get it in the truck.
Oh, wow.
So the God put that buck where he did, and the short drag to the truck and getting it in the truck. It was all we could do.
Wonderful.
Oh, good. Well, that's exciting. It's
It
always
was.
it's always fun when you get it and then you get it home and then all the work, now it's in the freezer. You can really relax now. Or I suppose you'll go out again, right?
Yeah, we're going out for a Dick's deer,
Yeah.
and then he's going on a 4-day elk hunting trip.
We have Donna here. Hi, Donna.
Hi, Donna. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. We're just
We
doing
were running late. We had an extra class thing tonight for school, literacy night. And so it didn't get over till like 6:45. So it was a late dinner. And thank you for reminding me because I would have spaced it out.
I've started doing that. I just like, okay, I'm going to stick the link in and maybe we'll relax. We'll get to it. So we're doing Joy, Junk, and Jesus. So I guess I could do mine. I guess my joy today was that Bethany and I I read an article in the paper about some lady that was making apple pies on election day and then giving them to their neighbors to just start to connect. And because we're so divided right now, and just no matter what your inkling is or your political or whatever, just doing that. So it's kind of a joy and a Jesus. So Bethany and I made apple pies today. I just posted a thing on Facebook, and we made 2 big ones and then 5 little ones. And she was just such a joy to work with. She just was so excited about the whole process and how to do it. And then we went over and took one over to our neighbors, the Turners, that have Turner Farms. And she made a cute little card that says, "Thank you for being our neighbors." And we got over there And as they weren't there right away, so I texted her and she says, I'll be there just in a few minutes, and we're coming down 3rd Street. So we sat on the steps and waited, and then we got there, and so we got to give them the pie, and that was really fun. And then we found out that they just bought the property next door to us. So they really are our neighbors, not only across the street, but now they're really our next door. You know, they bought that big piece that was for sale there. So that was very much a joy, and a really an answer to a prayer, because, you know, somebody he was really trying to sell it to build, you know, to put a lot of houses on it and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It floods, so it was like,
That's
this is really
definitely-
ridiculous why you're doing that. So anyway, that was a joy and a Jesus altogether. I guess my junk is, you know, just hearing about more and more people that are close to people that I know. And I think the one that really tugged my heartstrings was Briar Diggs from church. He posted this picture of him holding his dad's hand, and right before he died of COVID. And he had a glove, you know, one of those blue gloves on, and he's holding his dad's hand, and and it just really tugged. I mean, it just kind of hit home that this isn't something we should be fooling around with. We need
No.
to take care of each other, but how hard that must have been for him. So
Oh, I know.
I felt that for him. And then, you know, I keep hearing of other people that are connected to people that I know. So that's really tough. One time, yeah. So anyway, and well, my Jesus, I guess part of my joy and my Jesus this week was I put my weight in. I weighed on Sunday on the 1st of the month, and it told me I was 142 pounds. And when I put that into my deal, it popped up and said I'd lost 60 pounds.
Oh.
So that was like, oh
Yay.
yeah, thank you, Lord, you know. And then you get to show, I mean, I don't know if you've seen that little thing, but all of a sudden, you know, if you put it in there, and then as you get to milestones, then it puts it up there, and then, you know, you can put a picture in, you can put a picture from before. I'll show you that later, but that was just like, that just made my day. You know, it's just like, yeah, it was just like, yes, I'm doing it. So that was good. How about you, Donna?
Joy this week. You know, it's been really a lot of fun doing school. And she's just enjoying it. She's just relishing this. But yesterday, she was chosen as one of the 2 students of the month. Excited about it. Was such a fun thing to see her be recognized, even though she's struggling with reading and some other things. You know, she's all volunteering and jumping in there, and just, you know, putting herself forward. And she made the excuse to the teacher that, you know, this is her first time in public school. And the teacher said, you know, you can learn anywhere, and you can learn all the time. You just don't have to be sitting in a school to learn. And we're so blessed to have the teacher online that we have with her, and who just, you know, encourages her and says, you know, kids learn at their own pace and stuff. And so even though it's an awful lot of time on my part and stuff, it's just really becoming a joy to work with her and do a lot of this stuff. I was never meant to be a kids teacher, but
It's surprising what we
it's
get to
actually kind
be,
of fun.
right?
Doing
It
fabulous.
is, yeah. Second career, yes.
Yes.
Junk, we're dealing with COVID. You know, my sister has had it, my niece has had it, my nephew in Butte has it. And of course that meant the younger nephew was exposed at work, so he had to quarantine for the 2 weeks. So he couldn't go to school at Tech. He's a senior this year, and he couldn't work. And then his brother came down with it, so that meant he had to quarantine for another 2 weeks. So he couldn't go back to school. You know, so I mean, the effects of it are just devastating. And fortunately, no one has been that sick. But we've got leaders in Bible Study Fellowship now who have to quarantine because their husband has, you know, tested positive and stuff. So, I mean, it's just really starting to, you know, go through the ranks, and it will touch all of us.
Yeah. Well,
Jesus, you know, we have been outside for the last 3 days, taking advantage of the beautiful weather and just, I miss the colors though. I froze with the snow, and so we're not getting those bright yellows and reds and stuff. But just to be outside and just to be enjoying the sunshine and this world and being able to work in the yard has just been wonderful, and it's very therapeutic. And I
is.
just have always loved being out in God's creation.
Yeah. Yeah. I've spent a lot more time out in the yard too this year. I agree. It's just being out there and going. Today we went for a walk and it was 72 degrees. It was like, really?
I know.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's
You know,
supposed to snow, right?
outside this morning.
What's
I
that?
walked outside this morning to get the newspaper, and the temperature in the house and the outside were almost the same.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
This
Crazy.
can't be right.
Craziness. I agree. Okay. Well, Joan,
Nancy,
stay as long as you can.
Yeah, Nancy, I'm gonna have to go.
Okay.
It's-
Well, I
okay.
am going to record this, so I'll post it and then I'll let you know when it's posted. So if you miss it,
Thank you.
you
All
can
right.
do it. And blessings, and I hope you
Thank-
feel better and can be
Oh,
more
I feel
active.
okay. I just need to get some ice on it.
Okay.
So do I just click out, or what do I do?
Yeah, just leave. You're down at the
Okay.
bottom. I think it'll say leave meeting.
It does not say that. Well, it might have before you put this other thing on here.
I wonder if I can just remove. Let's see if what that does.
Okay.
You want to remove her once she won't be able to rejoin the meeting. No, I don't really want to do that.
Well, I can just click out, can't I?
Yeah, you should be able to. Just close it.
Okay, all right. Thank you,
Okay.
ladies.
Yeah.
Blessings.
If you just move your mouse, it should bring up your leave button.
I'm on an iPad, so.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna close out. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Oh, it's a small group tonight. So that's okay though. When does she? I'll just remove. There we go. Okay. Well, I just wanted to check in with you ladies and see what kind of progress you've made. Did any of you use that sheet to start tracking what you've been doing and your time and any of that?
I was really good and I got everything downloaded and printed, and that's as far as I got.
I love it. How about you?
I got mine printed off, and I put in the steps that I had for shoveling the snow.
Okay.
That was 6,735 steps.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So so here's an example here. Oops, we missed. So here's what I did. So this was my exercise. So here's how I did it. And maybe you can just kind of jot some things down. I don't know that right now that you need a goal for steps, but you probably have a goal for how many minutes you want to, have movement, whether it's 5 or 15 or 10, or 30, whatever my goal is right now 30 to try to get more exercise minutes in. Oh, somebody's coming. Who's that? I think it's Carol.
It could be Carol.
Yeah. There you go. Hi, Carol. Let's see if she's doing. So basically you just use this sheet and just put what your goal is. So I'm trying to get 30 minutes of active minutes every day. And I usually get 30 minutes of doing something, but it doesn't show up as exercise minutes on my app. So I'm trying to up my ante a little bit and say, okay, I'm going to do 30 minutes and I'm going to try to, get a little bit more cardio there. But, for if you're just starting out, just tracking the number of minutes that you're doing something, whatever. I don't know, Nancy, how it works when you're trying to do like the, you do some of the, what do you do? I can't remember what it's called.
I'm doing the Airdyne bike and the treadmill.
Okay. So there, you track minutes, right? You write, you know how many minutes you're doing it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
20, yeah, I usually do 20 to 25 on the bike and 25 minutes on the treadmill.
So what's your goal? Or is your goal right around trying to get, shoot. Oops. I don't know what I'm doing here. So do you have a goal for how many minutes you're trying to do things?
I usually, 30 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm exceeding 30 minutes by doing both machines.
Okay. So, and if you exceed 30 minutes, then you can give yourself a point for that day. So like
Okay.
this day, I only got 22 minutes, but then the next day I got 150 minutes. So you can see I kind of go, depending on what we're doing and, whether we have kids, and then, here's Monday, I got 7. So even though we walked for 30 minutes or 25 minutes, I didn't get my heart rate up. So that's kind of been what I've been trying to do. But for now, I think just being active is kind of what you want to think about. And then if you have a way to track your steps, and I'm going to show you, I found out on MyFitnessPal that it tracks your steps for you too. So if you're already using MyFitnessPal, you could probably just do that. But
I figured out that too.
Yeah.
I got my watch fixed. I was able to do that online with the chat person.
Good.
But so if I, like, the end of the day, I can sync my watch and or go into my Fitbit app on my phone and sync it, and it'll sync all my steps to my MyFitnessPal.
Good. Yeah, I just figured out how to do that the other day. So I'll talk about that too. Just so that what I liked about it was it puts it all in one place, otherwise I'm going from app to app, to try to fix it. And then I wrote down over here, like what I did, like this was our hike that we did into Curry Cabin. And, if I only get 7 minutes, then that's a regional park. And we were walking at night and, it was like, oh, I'm not sure I want to do that much. So, and then over here is your weight on those dates, those Wednesdays that you do your weights. So you can kind of say, okay, this is where I am. So, I think it's helpful what I found, I guess what I'll say is what I found is it's really helpful for me to write the data down, and then I can go back at it and I can look and say, sometimes I can say, oh, wow, like this week that's on here, I didn't, I only released 0.6 pounds. And then I can go, well, what could I do differently? Maybe I need to up something, or I need to eat less of something, or, you can kind of look at the data or think about it. It just makes you think about it. So it's just a tool. I've found what was really interesting, that when I hit my 60 pounds, and then I was noticing that in my journal, it was a year ago this week that I actually joined the Weight Loss God's Way on the online program. And so it was real interesting to compare where I was then to where I am now, that I'd lost 60 pounds. I could look at my, what my measurements were, because sometimes you feel like you're going nowhere, you're just doing nothing. And it's actually really quite helpful then if you can have something to look at and go, oh, like I was surprised when I did my measurements this week. It was like, oh, so that was the next thing I was going to talk about. So I would say if you can do this, because this is what we were going to base our contest points on. So at least try to track, how many minutes you're active, and then give yourself points, give some little reinforcement for doing it if you're doing it. And then as far as steps go, just write down how many steps you're getting, just so you kind of have an idea. And I do it the first thing in the morning. I go back and I look at everything and say, this is, what I do. I actually do a little bit more expanded one, because I always look at calories too. But this month we're working on activity. So just focus on activity. And then just kind of track your amounts here just to say, okay, well, what am I doing? And then maybe in the next month, you might say, well, I'm going to try to increase that by, you know, a little bit more. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And I know it, you
So
know,
when you're,
go ahead.
I was going to say, so, you know, so like for the last 3 days, I've been out in the yard for like 2 to 3 hours. And, you know, so it's somewhat counting steps. It depends on if I've dropped the phone or and stuff like that. But it's really hard to judge that because sometimes you're more active than, you know, other times when you're out there in the yard and stuff. But so it's really hard to gauge, you know, those 2 to 3 hours outside.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to, yeah, yesterday, there actually is, there's an app that connects with MyFitnessPal that's called Map My Walk. And I discovered that it actually has yard work. You could put yard work in there and then it'll tell you, it'll give you credit. It'll track how much time you did it. And I loved that one. It was like, yeah, we did 2 days where we
Okay,
worked in the
okay.
yard. Yeah, it was called, it's called Map My Walk, and it connects to the MyFitnessPal too. So it'll
Okay.
give you that. And it'll track. I just turned it on, and then I went. Now here's the caveat here, because I learned something the hard way yesterday. So I don't know. Let me see if I can pull this up. So yesterday we went to the regional park over there by Community, and they have this little exercise thing where they've got a place where you can do not push-ups, but ride the bike and do the elliptical. You know, they have this little circuit. So I turned it on and then I forgot to turn it off. And so my let's see, my exercise minutes yesterday said 430 minutes. and I'm going,
there.
yeah, holy cow.
Oh,
So this morning I turned on, I said to Ron, what is going on here? And then, yeah, I said 430 minutes. I'm going, what? So, and then I happened to look down, I was either on my watch or on the phone and I had forgot to turn it off. And so it gave me this, it blew up my minutes totally. So anyway, that's the only thing I have to worry about. But that was that was a funny one. So it would be, you know, at least it would be good if nothing else, even if you don't do your steps, track your minutes of doing something. You could even turn your stopwatch on, you know, like when, you know, Donna, when you're out in the yard, just turn it on and say, okay, I'm going to start it here. And then mine's pretty funny. I don't know if I can show you, but when I was doing the yard work the other day on the Map My Walk, it actually shows everywhere you went. So it's got all these little lines going all over the place and like in my yard. So it's kind of a fun one. And it did shoveling snow. It also did the shoveling snow, which I thought, okay, I'm going to get credit for this.
Like I turned mine on halfway through the walk for hunting.
Yeah.
And so we put this like a half a triangle.
Yeah.
So I got, oh, okay, 0.44.
Yeah. And then there is a way you can go in on that Map My Walk one and you can edit it. You can say, oh, you can't edit the route, but you can
Yeah.
say, oh, well, that's about, went about, and you could just change the number of minutes on it.
Oh,
So yeah, all these little steps. So then I think I sent you this one, the end of the month data sheet. Let's see. With remember this when we talked, I think we talked about this one at the first one. We talked about tracking at the first of the month, writing down your weight, and then your measurements, your bust, your waist, your hips. Did anybody do that this month?
no, I think I should.
So you might
I'll have to print it off.
yeah, this was on that one that I sent out, but that's kind of what I found. And actually you can put some of that into your, so this is my data sheet, but you can put some of those same things in MyFitnessPal, and I'm going to show that to you in a minute. But it's another way because it's always good to have a starting point, you know, to know where you were when you started, so that when you get to the end, like I like to track my pant size. I want to see if I can find mine. Weight release data. I wanted to just show you mine. I went in and actually added it in. So here's my little notes. So I have, can you see that okay?
Pretty much.
I can make it a little bit bigger, I think. Oh, here we go. Plus. I don't want that.
That's better.
So, oops, maybe a little less than that. So you can go in and you can figure out what your BMI is based on your weight and what your height is. I think I shared that link before. I put that on the Facebook page the other day. I'm going to show you that if you click on that link.
Whoops.
And then you can go in and you can say, okay, I weigh, what did I weigh there? I weighed 203 is when 209 or 203, oops. 203 and I was 5'4". And you hit calculate. And then it says my body mass index is 34.9. And then it says, this is where your ideal weight for your height is this amount. And if you are at 34.9, then you're considered to be over 30 is considered to be obese. So you can look at that one. Or if you're 25 to 29, it's considered overweight, or 19.5 to 24, you're considered to be optimum. So what I found was really helpful for me is I would say, okay, well, I started out in the obese category, and then I started Weight Loss God's Way in November of last year. And I wore a size 16 pants. And then as you go down, oh, look, see, these were my this was my size 12. I got into a size 12. I went from a size 16 to a 14. So these are little things that, like, you feel like you're not doing anything, but all of a sudden you're going, oh, well, maybe I am, you know, and I'm still in the obese category for quite a while. And then, yay, you get into the overweight category. So, and this was my little note. I added some videos, some exercise videos. So what's making a difference here? So then down here was in overweight for quite a while. So this is the first of the month. I don't think I didn't put in this month. So here, and then I actually made it. So the good part was that this month, I was out of that. I was in the 140, I think I was 142. Let me go back and let's find out. 142 and I'm 5'4". And if I hit calculate, I finally, mine at 24.4, which meant that I got into the optimum range. So it was like, you know, there is another piece to celebrate. So 24.4, and I can put optimum. And then then you can also, and I got into a size 8 pants. Like I said, I don't think I've ever been in size 8 pants. So, and that's just doing it once a month. That's just doing it on the very first day of the month. And then you just have something to look at. I used to do it the 1st and the 15th, but there wasn't much change, and it just got to be kind of depressing. So I just moved to the 1st of the month. Any questions about that?
No, looks great.
But it's a good tool. It's a really, I think I probably emailed, this is on that thing there. So that's not what I wanted, but it's just another tool to use to think about what you're doing and write down those non-scale victories, Nancy, I'm just looking at that picture of you and your, with your buck, you could tell that your clothes are fitting differently. You're saying your hunting pants fit differently.
I couldn't keep them up.
I know.
And I could fill those pants. I didn't have to wear a belt.
So those are things you want to write down and you want to celebrate. Go, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, yeah. So, those are the things that you want to think about what you're doing. So once a month, do those, write them down. And I know Val, when she posted, she said it made her depressed. Well, sometimes it has to make you a little depressed. It just is that button that says, okay, I got to get serious about this. I got to do this. And it'll start, and then you'll start, once you start putting a little bit more effort into it, then maybe it's going to work for you. The other one I wanted to share for you, I think I emailed this one out as a planning sheet. And this is one that that Kathy put together. And what this one, I think you can actually know this one. Oh, let me write on it. You do it for a month. And then this was word for the year, which we did before. But then you put your target weight and then what's your goal target weight for the month. And then in here, you write in your weight and what's your BMI that we just did, how we figured it. And you could do your waist to hip ratio. I'm sure there's some reason for that, but I don't find it very useful. It doesn't seem like it changes me much. I do it, but I don't get it. And then you don't worry about this part here. You just wait until the end of the month. And then you come back and think about it. And then over here on this side, you put what your habit is that you're working on. So for our habit that we're working on in this group is, to exercise 15 minutes a day or 30 minutes a day or whatever your goal is. And it's just a goal. And then maybe the other one might be drink, 8 glasses of water or whatever, you can, whatever, but I would say even stay with one. Maybe you're going to write down your steps. Maybe those are the 2 goals for this month, is you're going to try to get that 15 or 30 minutes of exercise each day. And the second one is you're just going to write down your number of steps, just track them. And then for each day, you just check it off. Yes, I did it, or 0, I didn't do it. Yes, I did it. And you just do it here. And this can be your track for your it doesn't have to be as fancy as that other one, but it doesn't give you much data, but at least it just says, yes, I did it. No, I didn't. It's just a checkbox. So some people like this. I didn't use it at first, but I did find that it became, and then I used it, but I was always trying to add more detail in here, and it got so I couldn't see what I was trying to, that's why I ended up with that other Google sheet. So
That's a good girl.
just another tool. Any questions on that?
No.
So yeah, just write down, just check it off if you do it. So the part that I read this week out in this book that I thought we ought to talk a little bit about. Let's see if I can find, I don't know where my book is. Oh.
It's a good baby. It's a good baby.
You got your kitty there? Or puppy?
That's a cat.
It sounds like you're talking to a cat.
Yeah. Or she's up in my lap a lot.
Well, I lost my book. Oh, I got one over here. So the one part I thought would be good to, the 3 pages that I thought were really good in here, the 3 chapters, had to do with day 17. So if you have your book. Carol, did you ever get a book?
No,
Oh. You should get your address and send it. I've got extras.
Oh.
I'll send you a book.
okay.
Yeah, I don't, when I've
Do I
got
need to,
them,
do I need to send you a check?
yeah, they were $14 if you could,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Yeah,
I'll just give the check to Nancy when they come over for Thanksgiving. How's that?
perfect. Yeah, I figured I ended up with about 4 of them extra. And I didn't, usually when I order them from Amazon, I try to send them back, but I didn't get it back soon enough. So chapter 17 talks about making exercise a habit. And I thought that sometimes I like the first line. It says you can do it once or twice or even a month when you're super motivated, but as soon as you hit a bump in the road, it's often one of the first things to go. So what they talked about is thinking about the psychology behind how to make a habit, how to get something into a habit. So if you look at page 88, the next page, they talk about there's 3 parts of the habit loop. The first one is a cue, something that triggers you to to start a behavior, like having it something that you're going to do that. There's a routine, that's the behavior you want to change. In this case, it's exercise. And then there's the reward, what leads you to repeat the behavior. So it needs to be positive. So if you look at the cue is what triggers you to start it. Like the example they give is that David would seek the Lord early in the morning, and Jesus would seek the Lord whenever it seemed like when he was stressed and he needed time, then he would go find the Lord. So if you look on page 89, they have a list of cues that would trigger you to start your behavior, to do whatever the exercise or whatever it is you're trying to do. In this case, exercise. So it could be the alarm clock goes off in the morning, the end of a work day, attend a scheduled class at a gym. I know, Carol, you talk about going swimming. Take the dog for the walk at the same time each day. I thought of Val with that one. Pack your gym bag and leave it by the front door. Leave a bottle of water or your sneakers next to your bed. Look at your running shoes in the car. So of those things, is there one of those that helps trigger you to say, okay, this is what I need to do in order to go exercise? Something.
I always have my workout clothes ready to put on first thing in the morning.
That's a good girl.
Okay, good. Carol, what about you? Is there something that triggers you to go do what you do?
Well, basically, when I go swim, when I keep my bathing suit handy, but I
Okay.
only do that 3 days a week.
But 3 days
That's
is good, yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's an hour of water aerobics, and it's an hour of constant moving in the water. So
That's good. So what might you do? So that one is built in because you've got it scheduled, right? It's a
Yeah.
routine, and that's the next step there. But then be thinking about, okay, now I've got the other 3 days, 3 or 4 days. What's something that I can do on those 3 days that will help me, stay active? So think about that.
yeah.
Donna, what about you? Is there anything that is a cue for you?
Consistent day. Uh, um, when I did belong to the gym, I actually had a class that's starting, and a reason for getting up and doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And, but I haven't been back for a couple of to do it with my mother and with everything else.
Yeah.
And so, and trying to get up earlier sometimes works, other times it doesn't, because I'm up late for some reason. And a schedule would be really nice. Some sort of
Yeah.
a schedule where things happen at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I find is in the summer, we get up and we walk like at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Sunny, it's you can get out and do it, but
Mhm.
now you get up at even 7 o'clock, you can't do it. And the days that we have kids,
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, how am I going to do this? So lately what we started doing was when we're doing remote school with Bethany, and we have her, we do recess, we call it. And we've been going over to the regional park, and the kids take their bikes and we walk around the park. And that's been awesome. The regional
What are you
park,
going to do for the winter?
well, the regional park, they keep that sidewalk plowed all the way
Oh,
around, and
okay.
it's a mile around the outside.
Mhm.
So we did that last year, and that's pretty much what we usually get out no matter the weather, but when it gets really cold, it might be a lot harder to get the kids going. But so we just had to find
Yeah.
something, and so far
Well, I try to get out with Nevaeh when
yeah. And I'm finding that when they
Yeah.
ride their bikes, now Freddie's got a little Strider bike, so he's fast, he just moves, and we can actually clip along there, or we used to take the stroller. So, yeah,
Mhm.
so that's kind of, but as the weather gets colder, then, maybe, I don't know, when we get snow, sometimes we can go out and cross-country ski. I don't know. We have to think about
Yeah.
what it's gonna be.
Mhm.
So then the routine, that's the next one. So if you go to that should be day 18, not day 17. Let's see if I can get that bigger. So day 18 is the routine. That's the behavior. It's just what you said, Donna. You want to find a structure
Yeah.
for those days. And I thought these were really good points that, you may never get rid of a habit, but you may need to replace it with a different one. So, you have to figure out, replace it, do something new. Some take longer to develop, maybe you can do 21 days, you can develop a habit to drink water consistently, but it might take years to deal with sugar and, how those things are so popular in your life. So know that every habit's different. I thought, and the third one I thought was really good. I've learned this in the hard way. Negative reinforcement and punishment isn't a good motivator. So you can't guilt yourself into exercise, and you can't will yourself to do it. I love that. It says the more you try to do it, the more you'll end up resenting it. So you've got to find something that's a motivator, that you feel good doing.
Great.
And then the next one, give yourself lots of grace and start slow. So even if you're, for you, Carol, maybe it's just go for a walk or something, for 10 minutes, give yourself some grace, start slow for some of those days that you're not doing
Well, I do have a route in the house that I do, and and it does, every time I do it, I get 100 steps.
there you
So then
go.
and I do it several times, at least once a day, and sometimes 3 times a day, depends on what else I'm doing. Like today, I went to water aerobics, and then I went shopping at Safeways because it's senior day. I get 10% off.
There you go.
Plus, I'm a card member, so I get another percent. The lower prices on everything.
Sure.
But I walked in that grocery store for over 30 minutes.
Yeah. Well, and that's when you want to write those things down. Do it. Yeah.
Well, I put it
You're
in my
probably doing more than you think.
well, I put it in my my diet thing that Nancy put. What is it? MyPal Fitness.
Uh-huh.
And stuff. But
MyFitnessPal.
I keep getting it's they say I'm supposed to eat 1,200 calories a day, And I have the closest I've gotten to that is I had 174 calories that I had not used. And today I had 1,000 something calories that I had available to use.
Mm.
And I just, but so I had an ice cream bar.
Uh, Well, that
But
gets
I
to
put
the
it
next
in.
part when we talk about reinforcers, right? The reward.
Well, I put it in no matter what I have, to keep myself on a regular bowel movements and stuff. I have at least 2 sticks of licorice a day. If I stop, but then I get constipated. So it works out really good. But so I put everything that goes in my mouth in there, and I
Good,
still
good.
am short a lot of
Well,
calories.
just it doesn't necessarily mean you're short. It just means that that's how many calories that you got that day. So
I'm
the
supposed
1,200 is
to on it,
like
aren't I?
a maximum, more like a maximum.
Oh, okay.
So it's
Yeah,
like
you
if
don't want to go over.
yeah, you don't want to go over. It doesn't mean you get to do that many. In fact, if you can cut it down a little and you have fewer calories, then that's probably when you're going to start to
Mhm.
lose some weight
Yeah.
if you do that, pair that with exercise. So it
Well,
doesn't
sometimes
mean,
I've had as high as 600 calories that I hadn't used up.
well, think
So,
about, yeah, well,
and I haven't changed my eating habits, except that I'm actually eating a little bit more than, and it's like tonight for dinner I had a salad, and who knows what's going to happen, but
well, and food is a whole nother thing. I think this month we're kind of focusing on being active. So, start with thinking about that. And for you, Carol, what your habit is just to write it down, because then you can start to see, oh, this is where I am. And then you can figure it,
yeah.
make some changes from there. You have to start somewhere. I love this one too. Give yourself grace. Another one was give yourself praise for every small thing you do. So, if you do a little bit more, you say yay, and choose activities that you like to do. And remember that it's not, it's a long game. It takes a while to do those things. So, you start with a cue, something to remind you to do it, and then you build it into a routine. And I'm with you, Donna. Sometimes, with trying to do remote school, it's like, okay, how am I going to build this in? And so, yeah, that's how we've done it. We've just built recess in. We say,
Yeah.
okay, well, we got to do recess. We got to go outside. And then the reward, what leads you to repeat the behavior? So on page 98 and 99, there was some really good ones there. What works for you? Offer praise and thanksgiving to God. Give yourself a check mark on a calendar after you do your workout, or that little chart that I just showed you. Have a nice cup of tea or coffee. Use a special body wash or lotion after your workout. Check it off in your calendar and reward yourself when you accumulate a certain number of points. A friend of mine just took she just took a whiteboard that's a calendar, and then if she finishes her workout, like she does, like you do, Nancy, she does like a elliptical, and then so many of these, she has this little routine, and if she does it, then she gets a star on that day, so that she can just see how she's doing as far as, and it's real visible. It's just a calendar that's up there. Listen to your favorite songs. Listen to an audiobook while you're doing it. Say a prayer after every workout. Make your exercise time a time to talk to God. That was interesting. Splurge on some new exercise gear. What I really appreciated is actually after I started losing weight, I got to buy some new clothes. It was like, okay, if I get down to that weight, I'm going to get a new pair of pants.
Yeah, no kidding.
Is there any of those what works for you as a reward? Besides food, that's usually
Yeah.
my reward. It
Yeah.
used to be was food, but now you have to think about, okay, well, we don't want the reward to be food, but it could be I like the one too, is take a picture. If you use that map my walk, you can take a picture and put it in on I don't know if you've seen my posts that show how far it's been and, how far you've been and that kind of a thing. That's a really kind of a fun one. So you get to, and Lori did it. I saw that on the one she did the other day. Her bike ride, I think she posted it. Was it her bike ride or? Yeah. She posted it showed the route and then it showed how far they went. And so it to me, that's really reinforcing. Anything that works for you?
Oh,
Do you write yours down, Nancy, when you do your on the bike and do you write that down somewhere that says how?
I put it in the MyFitnessPal
Okay,
as the exercise.
okay,
And then, of course, it puts a note at the end of the day or midday. It'll say, Nancy did so many minutes of your, bike or treadmill, a combined total. And, so that's a reinforcement each time.
yeah, good. Yeah,
And I do say a prayer while I'm working out, because I could not do this without the Lord and the Holy Spirit. I couldn't do it. To be able to accomplish what I've been doing on the treadmill and the bike is really helpful. It's really been something else.
I agree.
Now, like today, I didn't do any because being on my legs all day doing the deer, and that just takes a lot out of me.
Yeah.
So I didn't do any exercising today on the machines.
But remember when she talked about the fact that it's okay to have some of those, those days you need to, it can't all be the same all the time. You got to have some rest days or some, lower days in there. So that's okay. It's
Well,
just,
balance is your yin and your yang.
that's right. That's right.
There you go, Carol. Hey, put that down. Your yin and yang.
You know what I was thinking, Nancy, what you said about the Holy Spirit, and this summer we started doing some hikes that had hills in them. And
Yep.
oh man, hills were, when I first started doing it, it was just like, I would just not want to do it. So I remember one of the devotions that we did, it talked about having the Holy Spirit at your back and pushing you. And so sometimes I do that prayer and I say, okay, you got to give me a push because I don't have any push right now. So yeah, that's kind of what I feel like sometimes, for sure. So I thought that was a good loop, that whole thing about having a cue, figuring out your routine, and then the reward. You have to have something that you put down. I mean, I have to write it down. That makes me feel better. I put it in my phone. Then it works like that.
Well, one thing with Halloween, I think it kind of started there. Dick put the candy bowl out.
Oh,
I've been able to,
Yeah.
well, I've been able to walk by and leave it alone. I had one on Halloween, and that was the extent of it. Small Reese's peanut butter cup. And now Dick is another totally different. Like today, he had to reward himself, which was great, after he cut up the deer. He said, "You want a peanut butter cup? We deserve it." I said, "No, I'm not the peanut butter cup."
that's
And
good.
but he had his, and he worked harder on the deer, having to take it all apart outside, bring it in, whatnot. And then the other thing was that we had company over for dinner last night. So I made a homemade apple crisp. And we just had our one little piece. Well, now there's still 6 pieces in the dish. What am I going to do with all that apple crisp? Somebody's got to eat it.
Freeze it, freeze it,
Yeah, there you
Nancy.
go. Freeze it. Good idea.
Put them in Ziploc baggies, one serving at a time, and freeze it.
Or put it in there and the next time you have company, you've already got your dessert already ready.
I like that idea. I can do that.
Then you don't have to make a dessert next time.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I may have to have a smidgen more. It was so good.
Okay, so I thought one of the things I do, and maybe you guys, it sounds like you may have picked up a few of these things. Here's MyFitnessPal. That's the one you're using, Carol, right? And
Yeah.
Donna, are you using it?
I used it on my computer, but I never had a smartphone. So it's one of those things that
Ah.
I had used it when I was working out at the gym.
Uh-huh.
But everything, it wasn't on the smartphone, so I didn't have the capability of, I'm sure it's a lot better than it was when I first started using it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So I thought a couple things just to share. I actually have used it on my computer, Donna, and it's pretty good.
Okay.
It's got a lot of the same bells and whistles, and if you can get onto your computer and do it, it's handy to have it on the smartphone, but I thought what I'd share were a couple things that I've discovered, because sometimes I discover these things. One of them is the diary where you're writing down your food. So the diary is here. If I hit this diary, and then it'll show up breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But I was thinking the thing, you can add your food. You can add a food and whatever it is. You can add
Nancy, make your diary bigger.
I don't know if I can.
Oh, there you go. Never mind. I had to just click on it.
Okay. So here's the diary with the food in it. And then you can also, this must be where you're talking about your exercise, right?
Yes.
Nancy. So it takes it from my, the exercise from my phone. And then it also took my walking steps from my other app. So, or I can add another exercise. Oh, you can add it. Okay, so you can add an exercise down here. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, I just go to the cardio
Oh, okay.
and I can add the treadmill.
Okay. You can just
And there's a
pick
whole
one.
list of them there.
Oh,
You can go to all exercises.
okay.
Okay, now you can scroll down A to Z.
Okay, or you can search for one. So you could search for,
Yeah, you can do a
Yard work.
search for a bike or a treadmill.
Oh,
okay, yard work. You didn't like yard
Yeah,
work.
yard work, you have to create your own exercise on yard work. So that's one that's not in there.
But you can do, oops, treadmill. It might help if I'd spell it right. There's treadmill. So then you could put treadmill in there, right? And then you could put how many minutes you did it. Oh,
Yep, and that's how I do mine.
okay, okay. I didn't know you could do that. That's cool. So you could see how we did that, Carol?
yeah, I do that. That's
Okay,
how
you
I
did-
have mine. Yeah,
you did-
I had to go into Google to find out how many steps for so many minutes, because the thing asks for minutes and then it converts it in it. So I had to go into Google to figure it out.
So cardio would be,
But I didn't know that about this history thing. I didn't know about that. Is that your history?
yeah, it could be. Yeah, if you have history, then you don't have to look it up every time. You
Well,
can-
because mine comes up, every day I go into my exercise and it brings up everything I've put in.
okay. So if you're swimming laps or, you're doing swim
I'm doing aerobics.
aerobics, treading water aerobics. Okay. Treading water, search for all exercises.
Go for water aerobics down at the bottom, Nance.
Down here?
Yeah, all the way to the end. You'll have to go, yeah, I have to go
Oh,
all
I
the way.
see what you mean.
It is, yeah, or even try a search on water aerobics. There it is. It
I
was up there once.
There
There
it
you
is.
go.
Okay. Then you put the minutes and then it'll do it for, okay.
So 60 minutes, and then you have a start time if you're doing the morning. So it calculates 258 minutes
Hmm,
or 258 calories.
okay. That's handy.
And to me, I think it should be burning more calories because you are getting a full workout
Yeah.
in water aerobics.
Yeah, but I think that's what's surprising. I think that we all think that, and that's the amazing piece is that it isn't necessarily. I got to plug my phone in, sorry. And the only one I have is just like really smart, short. So I took it out. Okay. So that's one thing in there. I think see, I learned something there. Water, I used to, when I was trying to track my water, I found it really helpful to do that. You can go in and, add your 2 cups and then it'll show up as 2 cups. It'll keep it up there. So I think that's a good one. I have found that if I drink more water, I eat less.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I feel better. Holy cow.
I calculate my water by the water bottles that you get at Costco.
Yeah.
The Kirkland purified water, 16.9 ounces.
Okay.
And so I always put in how many bottles. Every time I do a bottle, I add it to the diary.
I thought the other one that was interesting was, I don't know if I discovered this today too, under steps. So if I go down to more, I go down to this little 3 dot thing down here on the bottom and I hit more and I go to steps. You can connect it. You can add your device. So you could add your watch or your, like I added my Apple. You can only do one. So it syncs it, my phone or my watch or my, or another device. So like I would get your Fitbit probably connects there.
Yeah, my Fitbit is on there on mine.
Okay. And I don't know whether, I haven't decided which one is going to give me better steps, my iPhone or my Apple Watch. But my watch goes with my iPhone. So I'm thinking maybe they're pretty much, it should be the same. I don't know.
If your steps, see if your steps are the same at any given time on your phone and your watch.
On this app, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
On the diary? Well, that's a good idea. Let me go over here and see.
So like right now, look at your watch and see how many steps you've got for the day. And then go over to your iPhone and see if they're the same.
So my steps there and then, yeah, see, now it tells, even though here it tells me I have 8,500 steps and here it's only bringing in 7,000. So I don't know.
Okay, so your iPhone is not, it's synced earlier today to the FitnessPal.
Oh, okay. So it's just not matching.
That's why it's not matching.
Okay.
But
right.
see, it doesn't show the calorie adjustment. And that's what I haven't been able to figure out on mine.
Yeah, there's something, I guess you can just pick whichever one works best for you, but then the other part.
Always pick the higher one.
Me too.
It's just like if you're in the bar, pick up the drink that is the fullest.
So the other one that I wanted to show you is this progress one. I don't know if you're all familiar with it. Have you done it?
I do. Yeah, I can see
I
mine
love,
every day. on
this
there.
is where I think, this is where I get like those reinforcement for me.
Yep, that's
You can go up
exactly it.
here and you can change it to either steps, weight. I don't know why it says neck, waist, or hips. You could put your measurements in right there if you wanted to. I pretty much did just do weight. And I went back in and I put in, you could actually, if you hit that plus up in the top corner, you can add another one. So like I knew that at a certain point I weighed 209 pounds or something like that. And I had a date and I put it back in there. But what I love about this thing is when I go to put, so here's what I put in for Thursday. And I put my weight in, my 142.4. And then you can also add a picture. So there's a little progress, little picture here.
Yeah.
And you can put a picture in there. I don't have one that's recent, but here's the one from, so when I took a picture on the 1st, I try to do a picture on the 1st of the month too, because I think that's real telling, you know. And then I love this part because if I click on this little 2 thing right here, see that one?
Mhm.
It will do, like, this was my first picture, what I look like. And I weighed 202 pounds. And this was what I weighed on Sunday. So it shows you that comparison. And you can actually pick any picture you want. You know, I could pick this one. I mean, that's me hiking a year ago and year and a half ago, and here it is now. You know, there's a pretty stark comparison. But I love that part about being able to do that. And then if you hit share up in the top corner, it will show you some of the data. So I can go here, I can have just the picture. I just discovered this one too. This one says I've walked 2 million steps or 2 million.
Wow.
And I've lost 57 pounds and I've been on the app for 468 days.
Oh, wow.
So this is how many steps I've taken, how many exercises I've put in, how many days I've logged in, and how many meals I've logged. I mean, you know, that's obviously MyFitnessPal trying to sell MyFitnessPal, but I kind of played with it the other day and I thought, okay, well, I'd like to have this before picture be, this was the one when I started in November, that's a year ago. And then, okay, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to take, here's a year later. So here's the difference between that last year and this year. In just a year. So it's pretty impressive app, I think. That's my reinforcer.
Now, Nancy, do you have the premium MyFitnessPal?
I do
Are you
here, but I
paying-
don't think this is a premium piece, is it? I think this one is in
No,
there.
I don't believe so. Because
So-
I can track this one too.
So you can get a free one, but then you pay for a premium one. Is that it?
Well,
Yeah.
I got the premium one because I wanted to export data and then I've never used it. So I'd say don't, I mean, there's probably a few more bells and
Okay.
whistles that come with the premium, but I don't think, I mean, these are all the things you get on the premium, but I don't think it's worth it. I don't think I would.
What did they charge you for it?
What's that?
How much did they charge you for premium?
I don't remember. I think it was $19.95 or something for a year or
Is
something.
that a month or total?
I think it was for a year. Good question. I don't know.
I'll stick with the freebie.
No, stay with the free. I mean, I got it because I thought I needed it, but I don't think so. In fact, I should go in and see if I really need it. I mean, if I can get out of it. So anyway, I just thought those were good, fun things to do, and we're kind of going over time, so I probably should finish up here.
Is
I
all-
did. Go ahead.
Is all of that, is that on, oh, I mean, sake, what did I do? Is all of that on, what do you call it? On our MyFitnessPal?
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's the free one. It's the free one
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
using.
Yeah. Now I've lost you guys.
Oh, I thought it was me.
No, I lost you. Okay, now I'm back. So I'm almost done here today. I just wanted, oh, I had a question. I didn't know if anybody, I guess, the one I had an idea, a friend of mine was doing this thing called a turkey trot. So it was like a walk on Thanksgiving Day. So I had this idea, and I know, Nancy, you're going to be with Carol, and so you're not
Right.
even gonna be here.
Mhm.
And I don't know, are you here? Are you in town, Donna?
Yeah, we're not going anywhere.
Okay, so I just thought, well, we could meet at the park and just do a walk for a mile, and or if people wanted to do the 5K, they could do it. I was just, I just,
That's Thanksgiving Day.
yeah, do it in the morning as just a way to, we can't seem to we won't be able to get together, I don't think, for lots of things, so.
Not the way we're going. Mhm.
No. So I might be just, a way to be a socially distant way to get together. I may just do it informally and just see if anybody wants to do it. But if anybody who's out there who's watching this and is interested, let me know if you want to help me with it. Then the last thing that I wanted to say was, I'm going to share this screen. Next steps, because technically we are supposed to be done next week. And I was thinking that we could add one more week, which would get us to the week before Thanksgiving. And there are some frequently asked questions in the back of the book. So just add one more session and do those frequently asked questions. And then maybe do the turkey trot on the 25th. And then I was thinking, is that okay with everybody? Do you want to do one more week?
Yeah.
Yes.
To stay connected? And then I was thinking I'd do one more session if people who's ever interested in December, and run it on Thursdays again and use this other book that she's written called Love God, Lose Weight. It's a 21-day thing, and then add a little piece. Kathy's got some really nice things on tips for holidays, for how to, holidays are hard because of all the good food that's out there, and she's got some really good tips. So I thought, if people were interested, we might do that. How does that sound?
Sound good?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take it out and send it. I mean, this one, you could do it. Take this Love God, Lose Weight one, and you don't have to, there's no, it's connected to the same one as before, but it's just got a few more tips, and it just kind of keeps you going. So, okay, well, that's about all I have for tonight. Sorry I went over.
You're fine. No, no.
We had such a good time learning things. So let's go ahead and I'm going to stop that share, and let's go ahead and close with prayers. Would anybody like to lead a prayer tonight? Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight and sharing ideas and helping us each learn new things. It was fun to learn something else that I didn't even know was on there. Thank you for our fellowship and our time together. Be with those who are struggling with COVID. Give them peace and help them heal, give them healing. Be with those who grieve over folks that have been lost. Be with each of us this week as we go about our way, and help us as we plan and move ahead to next week. In your name, amen.
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 Okay. Well, thanks, ladies. It was fun.
And as Donnie goes, he goes, Amen.
Yep,
Good night,
have
all.
a good night.